So I hope you have completed the previous exercise and pinpointed who your exact avatar is going to be. If you have selected that, then finding out their problems is the next step. The more we understand this avatar, the more we understand their fears, their problems, their obstacles, the easier it's going to be to create solutions for them. Because if you don't know your customer, how do you know what products to sell them? So in this exercise, we're going to be doing exactly that. Imagine for a second, we take the example of, let's say, you sell makeup and hair packages to a bride. And there are two options. One makeup artist and hairstylist comes in and he says to a bride, we are going to do the best makeup you can think of and make your hair look amazing. And we're going to charge you $200 for it. That's one option. The second option is a hairstylist and a makeup artist, and they say, we are going to make sure that you look the prettiest amongst all the bridesmaids. We're going to promise that when the groom sees you, he gasps. We are going to make sure when your mother-in-law sees you, she knows her son has made the right choice. We'll make sure that your guests, as soon as they see you, they pull out their phones and start taking pictures of you. We're going to make sure that your dress stays stain-free from whatever makeup and hair we do for you. Which makeup artist is the bride going to go with? The second makeup artist has ensured that he takes off all the fears that a bride has before she attends her wedding. The biggest fears of a bride are not looking the prettiest amongst the bridesmaids. Her fear is the groom looks at her and doesn't have a reaction. Her fear is that the hair or makeup leaves stains all over her dress. The fear could be not being there on time. So maybe, the second one says, we're going to make sure you're ready on time. If you pluck at the fears and check them off, you can charge 2 times or even 3 times more, and the customer will still choose you, because nothing drives action like fear does. Motivation and aspiration are such weak forces in comparison to fears. It is because fear is such a potent force that politicians use it all the time to swing elections. So we're going to sit down and we're going to understand the mindset of your customer. And when we open their minds and understand their deepest, darkest fears, we can start shaping products around them. So let us begin. Again, you can read this at your own leisure. So step 1 is, what terrorizes them at night? Imagine the worries that disrupt their sleep and fuel their restlessness. So you really have to put yourself in the shoes of your ideal customer and start to think about what are they fearing, what are they being terrorized by whilst they're sleeping. That doesn't mean specifically sleep. If it's they're taking a shower, if they're eating their breakfast, what makes them get lost in their thoughts because of said fears. Now, because the avatar I chose in my previous exercise was a 9-to-5 employee, I'm going to try to explore their mind and see what terrorizes them. So what terrorizes a 9-to-5 employee? The fear of losing their home due to missing their rent or mortgage payments, not being able to pay bills that keeps on coming in, perhaps poverty in old age. You retire and you have nothing left to live your life on, losing their job unexpectedly, or being stuck in a dead-end job. Both aren't great, are they? And because of that, living with regret. Nothing kills you like regret in life. An unexpected severe illness. All's nice and dandy if everybody's nice and healthy, but God forbid something serious happens, you need to have the funds ready. And then maybe no safety net for the family, just in case something does happen to you, having no safety net for your family. So I would say these are some of the things that a typical 9-to-5 employee has most amount of nightmares about. So we leave it at that for now. So next step is, who or what sparks their fury? Understand the sources of their frustration and anger. So you're trying to go from what they're afraid of to what makes them really angry. What makes them furious, what frustrates them. And this is really to understand another aspect of their minds. So I would say, micromanaging incompetent bosses is something that makes them angry. Unfair treatment or compensation. Clearly, most employees are underpaid. Lack of appreciation or recognition. I mean, we don't think these things matter, but these things go quite a long way if they are given to employees. Increasing workloads. So not only are people not getting the raises they deserve, but the workloads keep on increasing as well. Toxic work environment or office politics, again, something that infuriates employees, I would think. Financial strain from rising bills. Every single bill starts to increase a little bit, but overall has a huge toll on an employee. Then family responsibilities keeps on increasing, and because there's this lack of personal fulfillment and time for personal interests. And then I would say seeing other younger or less talented people make loads of money. I mean, this is because social media, this is really on the rise. A lot of people are sharing posts about exotic vacations, shiny cars, lots of money that they're making. In contrast, when they see that all their education, all their work experience, everything is dwarfed in comparison to these young kids, that does infuriate them. So again, I leave it here for now, and then we can move to the next section. What are their top 3 daily annoyances? Things that they experience on a daily basis has this recurring sort of nagging sort of feeling at the back of their minds. And we really want to highlight those, because if you can get rid of somebody's daily annoyances, that it has a huge impact on their life. So we have to think, what are the 3 things that they are just facing on a daily basis, just keeps on going at their mind every single day. So for a 9-to-5 employee, I would say first annoyance would have to be financial strain. Things like just rising bills and costs of living. That is pretty much the story of every 9-to-5 employee. But other things that annoy them every single day, I would say workplace inefficiencies, such as, commuting. So like driving to work, being stuck in traffic, incompetent bosses, like I said, increasing workload every single day, having to do more and more and more. And at the same time, they have this financial strain on top as well. And then finally, I would say family obligations. So they're not annoyances as such, but if it's things to do like, chores, social obligations, like having to go there, buying gifts, then going to dinners, relationship issues because of finances, but other social issues. I would say these are the 3 things that kind of are nagging at our poor little employee here. Moving forward, so step 2, predict their path. What trends are influencing their lives or businesses? Forecast the shift that could impact their future. So what trends are happening in the life of an employee? Well, this is a remote/hybrid work model. Okay. There's automation/AI revolution is happening as we speak. There's the gig economy. So a lot of people are starting to do side hustles, side gigs, having social media following, personal brand, things like that. So the gig economy is growing. There is a focus on physical and mental health. More and more people want to focus on their personal mental health these days, and obviously physical as well. And then there's a push for personal branding. This varies from industry to industry, but a lot of professionals are expected to now have personal presence on social media in order to push the image of their company or get sales or get funding. There is a growing push from management onto employees to have their presence, especially on LinkedIn. Moving forward, what do they yearn for most, secretly or openly? Pinpoint the desires that they might not even admit to themselves. So what do they yearn for the most? Firstly, I would say financial freedom, just being able to take a breather and just, being able to afford their life, but also have some savings every month. Even that is a breather for so many people these days. I would say having autonomy, so being able to work whenever they want, on the things they want, just being in control of their life is, I think, what a lot of people would want. Recognition or legacy, just being able to be recognized for doing amazing work. Something, because a lot of people feel as if they're stuck in a cubicle somewhere, being a small cog in a huge machine where they aren't really being appreciated or recognized for their work. And this is one of the things that I've lost from modern work, is just the sense of pride in the work you do, because you're such a small little cog in the huge machine. Similar to that is, just fulfillment or pride in their work. Apart from recognition, you need personal fulfillment, personal pride in the work that you do. So that is definitely missing in a lot of people's work these days. Finally, I would say just a sense of adventure, or even, dare I say, variety. A lot of work is monotonous. It's just dead end, the same day in, day out, doing the same things. And there's just no adventure in work anymore. There's nothing that excites them. I think those 5 are what I would come up with. Okay, step 3. Decode their decisions. How do they make decisions? Identify any inherent biases that shape their choices. Now, this is really getting deeper into the psyche of your customer, which is why in the first exercise I mentioned, you should choose someone who you really empathize with, someone who you were yourself in the past, or someone who you are currently. Because if you do not know this person inside out, you are unable to predict what's the deep-rooted factors that shape their decision making. So how do they make their decisions? I would say employees are risk averse. So because they're not entrepreneurs yet, and they are used to having a specific monotonous life with a fixed salary coming in, they are risk averse. They don't want to take huge risks. They have a status quo bias. So if something's been happening in a certain way, they just take it as status quo, and they're not disruptors. They just like to conform in a specific way. They also have a confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is when they've heard something and they're trying to look for evidence. And as soon as they see the evidence, they're like, yes, that's right. So for example, if somebody said, starting a business is risky, they'll have that at the back of their mind, and they look out for business failure stories. And as soon as they hear them, they're like, yes, that's true. Businesses fail, businesses are risky, I'm not starting a business. So I would say they have a confirmation bias for sure. I would say they are quite emotional. Their emotions do drive a lot of their decision making. Social proof is another one. Their work environment has a huge effect on their decision making. Religious beliefs can be one. Especially the avatar I'm going for. Cultural norm, especially if you are from the global south. Cultural norms have a huge effect on your decision making. Personal and family considerations drive your decision making for sure. Let's make it 10. What else? I would say peer influence. So peers could be, your work peers. It can also be your neighbors, your relatives, seeing, they did this, so we have to do it as well, doing what the Joneses do, basically. So peers have a huge influence on them as well. Okay, moving forward. Do they speak a unique language? Not literally, but in terms of jargon, values, or shared experiences. So these employees that I'm going after are people who use corporate speak. Terms like strategy, scaling, scalability, return on investment, things like that. There's cultural terms, religious terms. Some of them are expat or diaspora terms. A lot of these employees are living abroad, working abroad, and there are a lot of small nuances, small terms that expats or diasporas would use. So I would say these are the ones that are coming to my mind for now. Okay, moving forward. So now we are serving the scene. Who else is vying for their attention? Try to think of the normal day-to-day life of a 9-to-5 employee. Well, I am going to. You try to think of the life of your typical avatar. What is trying to get their attention? Now, these are things that might be quite common across a lot of avatars, but still try to tailor this to the avatar that you're going after. So for my 9-to-5 employee, social media, of course, things like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and even Facebook is trying to get their attention. And there's TV, so things like Netflix, news, dramas, I would say, is trying to take their attention. Similar to that would be politics, again, either on TV, social media, news articles, things like that. Social and cultural responsibilities. Similar to that is religious responsibilities. Okay, now who do you see as direct competitors? So these are people who are trying to solve the problem for your avatar that you're trying to solve. Because I'm trying to help 95 employees start a business of their own, I want to see who else is trying to sell the same solution. Now, try to fill this list as much as you can, because we are going to be using the same list to run ads against your competitors so you can steal their customers and bring them over to your business, because you are hopefully giving them a much better solution. Now, I'm not going to fill this in front of you for the obvious reasons that I don't want to create drama by highlighting my direct competitors, but I hope you can do this on your own. The next and final stage is what has worked and what has flopped. Try to look at the list that you've just created of your direct competitors and see what's common between them. How are they marketing? What are they marketing? What sort of persona they have? What sort of price points they have? How are they delivering the solution? Where are they delivering the solution? What technology are they using to deliver the solution? Anything that you can find out, populate it here, because again, this is going to help you a lot in shaping your solution for the avatar. Because if a business or competitor is existing, has been there for a long time, it means whatever they're doing is working, and you don't want to reinvent the wheel. If there are things that are working for them, we should try to reverse engineer what's working and implement it in our solution. As with all other exercises, don't expect to do this in one sitting. These are the foundations of your business. Fill this in, try to fill this in again, try to keep on thinking of other options. Eventually, this is going to become like your marketing Bible, because you can then go back and keep plucking on these different emotional triggers for your avatar in your marketing, in your copy, in your videos, in your scripts. When you're trying to sell to them, every single thing is going to be helpful. So populate this Bible of the psyche of your ideal avatar. When you eventually have your first group of customers, you're going to talk to them one-on-one and try to extract as much more information as you can. Keep populating this page so that you and eventually your teammates can understand what moves and drives your ideal customer. I hope this has been helpful. I'll see you in the next one.